or sex, consent is everything.
Lizzo claps back.
I'm making music that hopefully makes other people feel good and helps me discover self.
Fran Drescher's friends with benefits.
I have someone on the side who is a friend with benefits. She has been married twice before.
Shag, marry, chop.
I'm going to shag Eartha Kitt.
It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Special guest host, Ron Bruneski. Special guest host, Aaron Darr. With your host, lifestyle expert, Napoleon Plate. Trans activist, Aaron Phoenix. Reality TV star, Chef Josie. DJ Diva, Power Infinity. And our moderator, Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Well, good evening, America, and welcome to It's Happening Out. Of course, it's like a time clock. It's Wednesday night at 8 p.m., and we're here for an exciting episode of the world's most popular live
Yeah, no matter what's going on anywhere. Geez.
Exactly right. There's a lot going on in the world, and we're going to show you as much of it as we can fit in to the next 4.5 hours. So, that's a joke. It's a joke. We are live, and as always, we tell you anything can happen. This is the world's most popular live gay TV show, and we are going to have fun. First off, we thank you for joining us, and Napoleon, tell us about how we continue to do.
We want to make sure that you guys all have viewers and that you are liking our pages, subscribing our pages, and of course, starting a watch party. It's very simple. We've got a video to help you out with it, so watch this.
When viewing our live show in your app, please click share. After clicking share, your screen should change and you can then click watch party. On the next screen, you can write text to your viewing audience and then click start watch party. You've done it. Enjoy your party.
Okay, well, as we tell you, I'm drawing attention to this television right here.
Yeah.
We are live. We're not quite ready.
Hey, guy, what's going on?
So we're going to send somebody in to get the remote so we can be live. And
Josie loves looking at her friends, though. Top chef, right?
Approved it. This is my friend David Hopkins, and we are live.
He's the magic that makes the show run.
Power has come down from Central Florida. Tell us about your experience there.
My experience in Central Florida is always great, but I'm not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the host of It's Happening Out. I'll stay at the Best Western off of I-95 and Commercial, where we are treated like the royalties that we are. So when you guys are in town, make sure you pay them a visit.
Excellent.
And as always, we are broadcasting from our set in the middle of the World AIDS Museum and Education Center in the heart of Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. As Al lovingly says, the gayest place on planet Earth.
And this set is provided courtesy of Concepto Modern Living. So we give a shout out to Concepto and thank you very much for this beautiful set.
So we are ready to start. It's Happening Out. We have lots of things to talk about. First off, let me introduce two of our guests. Yes.
The ghost?
Ghost guys,
All right. Well, first, let me introduce Ron Bruneski, our Republican political analysis, our gay Republican.
I'm very proud of being Republican and very proud of being LGBTQI.
Yes, and Ron's been with us a number of times. And America, as you know, we've had a variety of perspectives on It's Happening Out and hosts. We're very excited to announce. The hosts don't know it, but we're very excited to announce tonight here in the last Wednesday in January that Ron is going to be one of our new permanent hosts. It is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Welcome to the
Thank
table.
you. I'm looking forward to working with
welcome.
each one of you.
LGBTQ plus. We always love our tokenism, and Ron is our
There we go.
token Republican at the table.
I love
So-
that you're so focused on the community and how we can be together. You fall in line with our show's mission so incredibly.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So welcome, Ron. And now, please, we don't want to hear any more from you from the rest of us. And our other guest sitting here behind or next to me is Aaron Dar. And Aaron Dar has been on the show before. And Aaron is the anchor at Q News Tonight.
Yes.
And the Happening Out television network is doing a daily gay evening live evening news
program.
Right, exactly.
a mouthful.
Last night, Aaron and Napoleon do the show live to the whole world at 7 p.m. Last night, they reported 21 stories.
Wow.
In about 7 minutes, I think it was.
It
No.
was a speed round. We had to go through
It really
everything
is,
back
yeah.
and forth, but I think we were able to cover all of the topics really well in a short way to get all of America and the world interested.
It's wonderful to relate current events as they pertain to how they affect the LGBTQ
Yes,
community.
exactly. The thing I'm loving about the show is it's LGBT stories, but it's also general news items in the world that you would see at MSNBC or CNN, but an LGBT perspective. on
yes.
them. It's very, very interesting. Only place in the world that you can see Napoleon and Aaron doing this. And welcome. This is the first time in a while since you have been back.
Yeah, I was here. The last time I was here, it was on World AIDS Day, and it was quite an interesting broadcast.
World AIDS Day, we broadcast, and the majority of the host cast were Republicans, and
I was- I wish-
There you go.
for his life.
I'm sure you won't forget that.
It was like Rosie O'Donnell left alone with Elizabeth Hasselbeck and Meghan McCain. But
Exactly right.
nevertheless, I must persist.
Exactly right. All right. Well, so welcome back tonight. We're glad you're joining us, and we remind you we're part of the Happening Out television network, Q News Tonight, which we've just said broadcasts every night. At 7 p.m. live. Our moniker for the show is Out of the Closet and Into the Headlines. And you're definitely out of the closet, and I am reporting on the headlines.
What gave it away?
Yes, exactly. All right. National and world LGBT and world LGBT perspective. We also remind you, Napoleon, and we have a new permanent host for Happening.Fun, which is the entertainment show that is done every Monday night. And it's a nice reprieve from this show and also the news show. Monday nights at 8 o'clock, Happening.Fun has become South Florida's most popular source for things to fun. And on Monday night, announced a new permanent host for that show. And who was that? But
Miss
Chef
Josie,
Rose.
Chef Josie.
Congratulations.
Now, we had to do that. She knows everybody here. She's the queen of fun. She is the most fun person that I've met down here. So
Thank
as
you.
Napoleon plays, we had to say, okay, Josie, you understand what it is to have fun in South Florida. You got to join this. You have fun
Thank
every
you,
time you're
guys.
on camera with us. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate. Oh, yeah, of course.
We'll do the pound.
I
We'll do the
appreciate
pound.
I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah,
It's
we
been
can't
such a
shake
fun.
hands because of coronavirus. We can.
Oh, yeah,
Oh yeah. Well, you hear my voice.
Okay.
You hear my voice. It sounds like it. No, but it's so much more fun with you on the show. It's incredible. To
All
have
right.
Thank you,
on.
boys.
Yes, welcome, and believe me, I'm so happy you're doing this.
Well, there needs to be a little balance, anyways, and I mean that's me.
Yeah, we had a
little
little too-
feminine energy in there. I mean, I don't know how feminine, but
Okay.
we're
maybe a little too much feminine energy, and then now we get some masculine energy going
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
With me and
All
you.
right, and Power's going to plug whatever plugs that he has, and we'll do all of this all through the show. Let's move on.
They ain't
move on.
giving me a show yet.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We want to mention, by the way, that the Mr. Eagle competition is coming up here in South Florida, and Napoleon's going to be involved in that in hosting the qualifier to International Mr. Leather, and we wish you luck in that, and it's Happening Out's support. All right, let's jump right into the show. We always begin at the top of the show with the meme of the week. In 2019, we almost exclusively talked about Donald Trump. We're trying to balance it a little more now. And the meme of the week we show you, let's look at it now. And our meme of the week, straight guys definitely understand consent when a gay guy tries to touch them.
They're like allergic.
Yeah, right? All right, that's our meme of the week. We move into Happening Now's Breaking News. And Happening Now is a breaking news segment, and we bring an exclamation point to what is happening at this hour. Two big things are happening. First is impeachment. And the case has been closed by the House has presented. President Trump's defense has concluded. They're involved in questions right now. It is going on live at this moment, and we've prepared this for you. Watch this.
Big developments within the last 24 hours as Dow Jones is reporting that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told Republicans in a private meeting that he does not have the votes to block witnesses. Now, that means two important things, Alex, especially for our audience. One, that vote on whether or not there will be witnesses could come as early as Friday. And secondly, if there are witnesses that are allowed into the trial, it would dramatically extend the timeline for how long this trial lasts.
Well, even with the show Responsibility Today, I watched quite a bit of the impeachment questions. I have to say, more interesting than I was expecting. We talked about this before. New polls show only about 17 or 18% of the American people are following the trial in the Senate. So people aren't watching it. But today turned more interesting than before. What do y'all think about what's happening right now in the trial itself? Any thoughts?
Well, I think the people are talking about questioning. It doesn't come to me any surprise to see Mitt Romney going ahead and breaking with it, because Mitt Romney, at the end of the day, has always been all about Mitt Romney. So to me, what he's doing in trying to get the necessary fuller votes from Republicans to go ahead and ask questions, it should not be a surprise. As soon as what should have been a surprise is having him be elected as senator for the great state of Utah. But other than that, I think, look, why not? Let's ask questions. I think that, to tell you, if you look at the polls, if you look at what America is really thinking about, we have so many things to worry about. Impeachment shouldn't be one of them.
Well, of course, impeachment should be one of them. We want to get him out of here. But I would argue that Mitt Romney has truly shown himself to be about the country and about true patriotism, not about a party, and certainly not about himself. I would also like to add that I'm probably one of those 18% that's not following the trial in the Senate.
82% are not following.
82%. Yeah.
82%.
I'm part of that 82% that's not following the trial in the Senate, because I already know how it's going to play out. It's already, to me, it's all scripted as far as where it's going to go. No matter what happens, we all knew that he was going to get impeached, and we know that he is not going to be removed. That being said, there's no reason for me to look at the trial. I already know how that movie ends.
What do you think about the news that was reported yesterday in the big poll that 75% of Americans now say in the trial in the Senate that they want evidence and they want testimony, and that even includes a majority of Republicans, 95% of Democrats, 55% of Republicans. What do you think about that?
Again, that mission should have been in the hands of the Congress, should have been in the House of Representatives, not in the Senate. But you people have to understand, we all need to understand that each of the bodies that make up our Congress have responsibility. It was the responsibility of the House of Representatives to get the evidence, present the evidence, get the witnesses, present all of that. It is not the responsibility of the Senate to do it. The Senate is to decide, should we go ahead and impeach or we should not. That's what.
How are they going to make that decision if they don't have all the evidence that they need as a jury?
So that is a mistake that the House of Representatives.
No, it's not a mistake. That's what the Senate does. That's what the Senate does. That is the Senate's job. It is the Senate's job.
You might be interested to know that I agree with you, Ron. It is the responsibility of the House. There might have been an opportunity to show a little more guts and subpoena those who would not have been who who refused to show up and show up for their to be witnesses during that House procedure. But now we're here because we were able, the Democrats were able to present a case that has now resulted in the actual impeachment. So now we're in the Senate, and we can't have the argument that, you needed to bring those witnesses to the House when we know exactly what happened then. Those witnesses were requested, and the White House blocked them from testifying.
Not all of them were blocked.
A few more thoughts. Anything else we're going to?
I'm so glad that you brought up the topic of responsibility. Because going back to Mitt Romney, it's interesting that you say that Mitt Romney's out for Mitt Romney, because I guarantee you in 2012 you weren't saying that Mitt Romney was out for Mitt Romney.
Actually, I was, because I believe a person that held polls.
In 2012 you were saying that Mitt Romney should have been the president of the United States.
I will tell you, don't say that, because I did never say that.
Senator Romney's moral obligation and responsibility to put country over party, and I know that you agree with me on that, as he took an oath of office to swear to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. And that's why we are seeing that Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell does not have the votes necessary, and that on a bipartisan level, Republicans and Democrats in this country right now want to see evidence, they want to see witnesses, and they want to find out whether or not the impeachment of this president is valid.
I'm at 6 minutes, so I'm going to bring the breaking now news to an end. But I do want to take a quick flash poll. McConnell announces that he doesn't have the current votes to prevent evidence and witnesses. How many people here at the table, yes or no, please, believe that we're not going to get 4 Republican senators to vote that way? Do you agree with that? There's not going to be 4, yes or no?
I don't know. Honestly, I really don't.
Okay, but choose yes or no. You've got to choose one.
I don't think that we're going to have the votes now.
Okay,
I don't.
no.
I do think we're going to have the votes.
Yes.
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 Yes?
Yes.
Yes. So the majority of the table is saying that we're going to have evidence and we're going to have testimony. Now, let me reach deeply. Just flash poll, yes or no. How many think that the rumors of what is being repeated, that we may have 10 Republican senators say yes? What do you think about that, yes or no?
No.
No?
No, most of them aren't even watching.
No.
No?
No.
No.
Okay, interesting. We're going to watch very closely this week in terms of what happens on witnesses and on testimony. In breaking news now, let's move into a second big topic that is happening, and it happened to us right here and others in South Florida. Yesterday, there was an earthquake of 7.7 on the Richter scale between Cuba and Jamaica, and it affected South Florida. A good friend of It's Happening Out, who's been on the show, the Associate Director of Development and Communications for Care Resource, a provider in Miami, did a special report for us. We want to show you that. Jonathan Welch, watch this.
Jonathan Walsh reporting from our Care Resource office in Midtown Miami. Today, there was a 7.7 earthquake that occurred between Jamaica and Cuba. It was a shallow earthquake, but it was still relatively strong, with a depth of about 6 miles. It affected parts of South Florida. There were some evacuations in Miami after vibrations were felt. According to the City of Miami Police, there were some reports of vibrations in downtown Miami and in Brickell, although there were no injuries or any damages reported. Care Resource is fortunate to report that none of our offices were affected by the earthquake, and we are closely monitoring the news and will provide any updates as they become available. Thank you.
Well, we thank Jonathan Welsh. He was actually in Midtown Miami, yesterday when the building shook. The major government center for Miami-Dade County evacuated. Highly unusual for South Florida when the news is coming out that buildings are shaking in Miami. Any thoughts about the earthquake? Fortunately, no one was injured and are hurt. Any thoughts about the earthquake?
Well, listen, I live in Florida. I could have stayed in California, but I am terrified of earthquakes. So where am I supposed to live, guys?
Are you really terrified of earthquakes?
Yes.
Me too. I'm scared to death.
I've always
swallowed by the earth.
I've always wanted to be in an earthquake.
If you're looking to relocate, I mean, be honest with you, move to Idaho because
Oh God.
for Idaho, Donald Trump is rich, but in New York, he's doing just fine.
No. If you're in Florida, sinkholes are what should scare you.
Well,
they'll just
And by sinkholes, ladies and gentlemen, he means Rick Scott.
oh my God. Oh. Rick Scott is a little bit of one, but I mean, just being eaten by the earth.
I
because
wish
it
you would have
decided
said
it should.
Pam Bondi. That's what I wish you would have said.
I actually happen to like Pam Bondi, but that's a discussion for another.
I was on the 17th floor in Mexico City with a 6.7 earthquake on the 17th floor where the chandelier was hitting both sides of the ceiling. It was the scariest
That
moment
is
of my
scary.
entire
That is scary.
life.
It is
an earthquake
scary.
is not
Horrible.
not fun. Big news because we've had an earthquake in the gayest place on planet Earth. And I
Where?
never thought we were ever going to say that. That's our breaking news tonight at It's Happening Out. Now, let's break these the spell of what's going on in the world by having a fun game. And of course, America, play along with us. It's our game, I'd Swallow That. And I'm contractually obligated to have Josie on the show by drinking lots of shots. So that's what we're going to do tonight. You know how it works. I'm going to ask some questions. And if you agree, you're going to take the shot. If you disagree, you're not going to take the shot. And it's happening out. We have a shot boy, and we love him. His name is Alexander.
Love
I haven't
him.
seen him in a couple of weeks, like 3 weeks. Alexander, oh, Idaho boy, come on in.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely great. Very excited to say that most of us tonight.
Thank
Alexander works at Johnson's, a great bar.
We'll be
here.
there later.
And we're all going. We have some VIP spaces. It's going to be
Yes.
fun. All right, everybody knows the rules?
Right.
We're ready to play. Let's play.
do it.
I'd Swallow That. Question number 1. I don't use the word love as often as I should.
I jumped the gun a little bit there, but that's still accurate. We'll go with it.
Really? Most of you use love as much? Really?
I'm saying I
Emotionally shallow Napoleon and
Hey,
I are the only...
all you had to say was I something love, and I was like love.
Wait.
There we go.
All right,
It was an accurate shot.
You guys
All
got to
right.
tap into
I
that.
use love.
Okay?
I was gonna say.
Open your hearts.
Hey,
We'll work on that.
I was engaged once, and I was hurt by it, and it took apparently 10 years, blah, 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 gay stuff for me to get over it. I had to move to South Florida, meet people like these people, even just to experience life again.
I know, and you kind of make a joke, but there's seriousness
True.
behind that. And I grew up in a Baptist, conservative, Southern Virginia family,
Yeah.
and it's nope. Mesh down your emotions. You don't. And it's been very hard for me to overcome it. I do it better today, but it was very hard. And I'm curious, one person at the table that surprises me for not taking the shot is Power Infinity, because I watch your social media. By the way, are you in any jails currently?
I'm free.
You're free.
Yeah, come water
So
me.
as sharp-tongued as you are in social media, using "oh, I love you" it might be stark for a lot of people that don't know a lot about.
Well,
Power
actually, it makes a lot of sense because there's only so many people that I love. I don't love a lot of people. So the people that I do love, I make sure to tell them every day. I tell Hunky Pook that I love him daily.
That's Josie, right?
And nightly. I tell my mother that I love her all the time because I'm very aware that tomorrow is not promised, and I don't want anything to go unsaid.
Absolutely.
All the mama's boys over here just said
one,
yeah.
One last question on this, and we'll move into question number 2. Do you love me?
I said Hunky Pook and mother.
Okay, all right.
Did you hear the song?
Yes, Al, I love you.
Yeah, okay, all right, and I love you right back. All right, let's move into question number 2, but at least 2 of us need another shot. The rest of you still have yours. So we call our Idaho shot boy back. Alexander, come back.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Always
nice.
looking like a stud.
Nice. Now, are you working tonight?
Yeah, I'll be working tonight.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I hope to see you all.
Yeah,
we'll
well,
be there.
we're
Bye.
coming. Yeah.
We'll
all
be
right,
there.
thank
To
you.
see your flips and antics.
Okay. I'd
like-
swallow that. Question number 2. I have a spirit animal.
Ooh.
I want everyone's answer to this. This is a loaded question.
Josie, who's your spirit animal?
Oh, come on, guys. Don't you know already? I'm a tiger, guys, okay? I am a tiger. I've always been a tiger forever and ever. They say, though, when spirit animals start to show up in your space, I've had a lot of spiders, so you have to be, present to the little creatures who continue to show their face in your space. But my spirit animal's a tiger, roar,
And what's your spirit animal?
Well, mine necessarily wasn't.
If you tell me a kitty cat, I am just going to read you the film.
I'm going to go with
It's
Joyce
funny,
Behar.
It's funny because I actually say this quite a bit. It's usually when I'm intoxicated. And I always tell people my spirit animal is Anna Nicole Smith. Right?
Oh, seriously?
Seriously, trim spot, baby. Yeah, right? You want a Viper? You want some money? Want a car? Make me beautiful. Cookies freaking genius. Can I just say, I love Anna Nicole Smith.
Really? None of us know
The
that.
Anna Nicole Smith Christmas special from the Anna Nicole Show on E! 2001. Best thing you'll ever watch.
Oh my God, that was better than a George Delano what you just did.
If you haven't been to South Florida, the Seminole Hard Rock is here, and that's where
I get in
where it
trouble. Okay,
ended,
don't
right?
say too much.
I won't say too much.
But anytime I go to the Seminole Hard Rock in Hollywood, I always don't behave, and ironically, that's where Anna Nicole
passed away. I walked into, I was invited, and I stayed at the new Guitar Hotel. You've got to come to South Florida and stay at Seminole Hard Rock. It's amazing. Seriously.
It is amazing.
And I walked in with a friend, and I had forgotten that. And the first thing is my friend did the exact same imitations of Anna Nicole is here walking into the lobby.
She totally is. What a place to die.
Yeah.
Open bar. Open bar all the time, Anna. Get it. Where's
Okay.
sugar pie?
All right, we're going next time,
Aaron
okay?
I don't know.
Kimmy.
All right.
Come on, Kimmy.
Exactly. All right. Let's continue. And I'd swallow that. And we call our I-Ho shot boy back. Alexander, come.
I like when you reached in right there, by the way. Thank you.
Are those Versace?
Versace.
Got it. They're cute though.
That's
And
the second
by
time-
the way, the
That's
walkaway.
the second time he's been asked that on this program.
Really?
Second time the boy has had to say, no, it's not Versace.
It's not Versace. All right. I'd swallow
Alex
that.
concert
Question
coming
number
soon.
3. I'd swallow that. And I know Power's going to love this question. I am a material girl.
I guess I'm not getting drunk tonight.
What? That doesn't even make sense as a drag queen, does it?
First, you don't like Madonna?
What?
Material girl?
I mean, she's all right or whatever. But, I mean, the question is, I'm a material girl. I'm really not.
Was anybody brokenhearted that Madonna missed her first
Wait, was anybody surprised that Madonna missed the first concert or the 5th concert or any concert ever?
Well, we know that you weren't,
just
so
had
that...
Can she make it on time ever? Once?
Al and I just had this conversation the other day because he knows that I'm a frequent connoisseur of the Holy Spirit, i.e. Britney Spears. And he said the best concert that he ever has been to is Britney. I just outed him as a Britney Spears fan.
Me,
Just
dude.
outed-
That
However,
is not cool.
the best tour I've ever seen in my life, concert, was Madonna, her MDNA tour. So on Madison Square Garden, she can put on a show. I can't say anything.
Come on.
Y'all need to see some more Lady Gaga. She's a real artist. Just gonna say. I mean, they all are, but she's like a real
All right,
intense
let's
artist.
refine it. What
are we talking about?
Intent of the commercial of material. Are you materialistic?
Oh.
Josie?
So I would consider myself a material girl because I like quality. And I wouldn't say that necessarily I'm materialistic. I'm confused by this question. I love fine things, okay? Oysters, decadent,
does have
bubbles and
indulgent.
pearls.
I love it. But I live modestly, so,
Okay, and I already know the answers. Certainly, there is a assumption of answer. Let's turn to the Republican at the table. You a material girl, are you?
I certainly am. I love every time that I have to spend the money, to create money, to enjoy money.
I love
And
Republicans,
I
too.
want to tell you something. Talk about America criticizing the gay community. We don't have a bill with a woman. All the bills were men. So everybody here in America understand, You're gay if you like Washington, Lincoln, Adams. You are as queer as everybody else.
Okay. And for everyone that is watching, that 40% of the base that is religious to him no matter what, you've just understood why. Right. All right. Let's move on to question number 4. And it means, sadly, we're only getting to see Alexander one more time before this evening. Come to South Florida and come with us to Johnson's.
Yeah.
Oh, Idaho boy. Alexander, come on in.
Alexander.
Thank you.
Oh, Power, what's going on, man?
It is a Versace? Oh, he's
Listen,
wearing
you know
Versace.
what I think? I think that one of our
Smells good.
viewers should
Thank you.
definitely, send him some Versaces.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Wait,
He likes-
Is it Versace or is it Versace?
we could have. We just discussed that.
Listen, you don't even know me.
Exactly. All right. We get it.
Some people might not know that reference.
I will push you down the stairs and hope that you trip.
Yes, exactly.
I'll throw beads the next time you're on stage.
All right, here we go. All right. I'd
little
swallow that. Question number 4. I'm scared more often than I care to admit.
I'm around Al a lot, so saying yes to this with that being the context is not a sense of power.
All right, so as a counter to the tiger, I consider myself a lion on the Serengeti. I illustrate that to myself frequently, so therefore I don't find myself very scared. Rarely, in fact.
I certainly do not.
Fearless.
I do
honestly, I consider myself fearless.
I do not. My spirit animal is the elephant. Will always be the elephant. But I'm not scared. Why should I be? I believe in what I believe in. I will defend what I defend. And if you want to burn me and attack me and criticize me, that's your right. My right is no matter what you do to me, I will continue defending what must be defended.
Yeah, Power. Did you take the shot?
I finally was able to take a shot. But for me, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of a lot of things. The question is, are you scared more than you care to admit? And being that I don't like to admit any fears, then I have to take the shot because the fears that I do have, I don't admit it to anybody. So, yes, I am scared more than I care to admit.
Okay. All right. Well, that's our game, I'd Swallow That. We invite you to play along with us every week. I enjoy it. I learn a lot about everybody that participates in It's Happening Out, especially Anna Nicole here. Congratulations.
Our
All right.
special host for the night.
Yes, exactly. All right, so we're going to, and watch Aaron and Napoleon at Q News tonight, every night at 7 o'clock. All right, we're going to move into Celebrity Hot Topics now, and we have a couple of interesting ones that we want to talk about. First, Fran Drescher. Remember the nanny? Well, she's back, and she has a new show coming, but she has talked about how she isn't dating, and she is happy with her gay ex-husband and fuck buddy. And that's the exact words that she used. What do you think about Fran Drescher? And before we talk about that, we prepared something for you. Watch this.
On to Fran Drescher. She says she's happy being single because she has a casual sex partner. She told the New York Post, quote, I'm kind of dating myself and it's going quite well. I'm not dating. She went on to say, quote, I have my gay ex-husband who I love and he fulfills a lot of my needs. I have someone on the side who is a friend with benefits. She has been married twice before to Peter Mark Jacobson, who she was married to for 21 years.
It's a fascinating story to me. Fascinating. What do y'all think about what Fran Drescher is saying?
I was just telling Aaron, I think that this is beautiful. The ability to express yourself and how you love with another person so openly. It's so easy for our society, any society, to judge somebody by saying, yes, you're gay, or yes, you have a relationship with more than one person, or even more so, they're a different age than you. And Fran Drescher here is saying, I don't care what your opinions are to all of those statements. This is something that I'm feeling, and I'm going to embark on it with these two people. And I think that's incredible because she's open to her sexual identity, her sexual truths, and she's living a more powerful life for it. I strive to be that way myself and encourage all of my friends and people I love to live that way every day.
Interesting. Other thoughts about Fran Drescher?
Well, I think that hold on. I think that the fact that she has a fuck buddy kind of washes over most of the gay community because most of the gay community has fuck buddies too. So for us, it's like that's not really a big deal. It's a big it's a big deal because she's put it out in the mainstream.
And she talks about it. Let me challenge your observation, though, there for a moment, and not let it get away. You just made a statement that understanding in the LGBTQ community, her statement, but you make the observation that most people in the gay community also have this type of a relationship. As somebody,
let me clarify.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to clarify. It, please.
Have or have had.
Yeah.
And let's keep it real. Have or have had. I mean,
just a regular.
Yeah, and I actually.
Everybody. I mean, I'm quite sure most people have, and as far as gay, at least gay men have had fuck buddies. That's not really a big deal to us.
Let's provide a definition here. Hold on. Let's provide a definition here. What you're saying is, stay in this with me, that you are postulating that the majority of gay men, we'll focus on that. Let's separate lesbians, LGBT women.
Sorry. We don't have casual sex anyways.
Right. I don't want to, and I just don't want to go in that route of marginalizing anybody. I'm just curious to this observation. You think most gay men at one point or another in their life have had a casual, ongoing relationship sexually with someone. That's your point.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and
that is my opinion.
And clearly, you're expressing that. Now, the other thing that I want to ask to make sure that people get to hear this observation: do you think that is any different in talking about most gay men? Would that be true for most men? Are men in the straight community having that same kind of casual situation?
I don't know, because I haven't been in the straight community for a long time. But I mean, I just think that for straight people, traditional relationships are still dominates their dating arena, their engagements. Yeah. And I think for gay men are a lot more free. We're a lot more open. And so it's not really a big deal for us to have casual sex and fuck buddies and this, that, and the other thing. We live a fabulous life. Unfortunately for the straights, a lot of them don't get to live as fab as we do. So their idea of I guess, a relationship is marriage and kids. Mm-hmm. Thank goodness
we
don't.
That's really interesting. And let me tell you why. Because most of my closest straight friends make the exact same observation you did. Gosh, I wish I could do that. And they're self-repressed, or they feel controlled by their culture, which is different than our culture.
Yeah. It is different, but I will tell you, I personally find it a little silly that people go ahead and relate sex with true love, eternal love. You can love, truly love, but sexually, hey, you may want to party and have more fun and enjoy life. I don't combine, or I don't think that eternal love, that beautiful love that we all want and have achieved, doesn't mean that you should suppress your sexuality. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying that if you're gay or if you're straight, your sexuality must be the centerpiece of your real desire. So to me, hey, the more the merrier, as long as you keep it safe, clean, and respect. Go ahead.
Wait, that's actually really fascinating to me, because I'm very sexual positive, sex open in terms of all of what I do, but I'm also very liberal. And you are not as liberal. You are a Trump supporter. You're Republican, and you are married for 20 years.
25
years.
25
Pardon. 25 years.
Yeah.
And you still say exactly what I say, that it's important for people to embrace their true identity as it comes to
is important.
sex.
And you know what? This is, again, what this is so great about this show. We're different. We think we're different. And when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, we're the same.
We're both willing to fuck everybody.
Well, no, I didn't say that. You did. I didn't say that.
See you, Alexander. Bye-bye, dear.
Ron's husband's in eye view for me, and he's going, no, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. Any last thoughts? In anything else?
I think that, really when we talk about fuck buddies, it's about, there's a large percentage of our society who, whether you're straight or you're gay, we have a problem with commitment. Period. And how convenient is it to have a fuck buddy with no strings attached, no expectation. And, I think that's a practice. Maybe it's just, actually, it's it's relieving to see that this woman who's, you know, a little bit older, who's still living that young person life, you know, and man, thank God. So, you know, I'm happily married too, but.
It can be helpful. I know just before this segment it was a 6 o'clock call time and I had 5 o'clock and I was getting ready and then this guy messages me on Grindr and he's just beautiful. And so I tell my roommate I'm going out to make a phone call, but I'm really going out for like literally 5 minutes where he can just pick me up in his car, drive me to a house that's abandoned and get something to happen in that 5 minutes. And it's worth it.
Is that what happened?
This
took only 5 minutes?
Now we know.
This is okay. I have a lot of sexual stories I don't share every week because we're running out of time. But yeah, no, it was forced.
No,
in 5 minutes.
time, okay?
The director is talking to me in my ear, and I'm telling him, hold on.
My point is that, like, yeah, just like time here, it's time there. It's like you force these friends with benefits, and then sometimes, yeah, the guy's hot, he's into me, but was it really the experience I wanted? I mean, it was fun, it was a little bit of relief, but was it really anything of benefit to either of us? I don't
like
know.
Everyone at this table has a spirit animal, and Anna Nicole Smith.
Okay.
Not just me. Not just me.
It's not just you. You're right. All right, let's move out of Fran Drescher. This has been a fascinating conversation for me.
From Anna to Fran.
And tomorrow night on Q News Tonight, we are going to completely in the news explore this 5-minute Grindr moment before the show.
Oh, that should be its own show, Al. Apparently.
Let's continue in a second to Celebrity Hot Topic, and that is talking about Lizzo. And we want to talk about her being the most nominated artist at the Grammys and people bashing her for making music that is too white. And in general, talking about the Grammys. What did y'all think this week? The Grammys, Lizzo, and this issue about what's going on with her.
I watched bits and pieces of the Grammys, but what I will say about Lizzo is her music's not white. It's mainstream. It's top 40. It's something that anyone of all ages, religions, creeds, any and all walks of life can like and appreciate because it's really catchy. She has really good music. And what I love about her is she has such a message about her of body positivity. She's a bigger girl, and she dresses however she wants to dress, and she's like, you know what? Love the body that you're in, be who you are, acceptance, and I think that that's great. So when we start putting these titles of white or black music, and again, just to give our viewers some perspective on this, these remarks came from Iggy Azalea.
Yeah, really.
A white girl. A white girl.
Who's been very criticized as a white person exploiting black culture in her music. I mean, my thing is, why do these women in music have to bash each other?
Thank you.
And that's what's taking women back. They need to be supportive of
Aaron, thank you for doing that. Let me set up that observation in this story a little more. We have prepared something on Lizzo. We want to show that to you now. Watch this.
Music. In a recent interview with Rolling Stone, Lizzo defends herself against allegations that her music is, quote, corny and an industry plant. Rolling Stone points out that, quote, the most consistent painful insult, though, is that she makes music for white people, that she's merely shucking and jiving for an audience of yas queen era white feminists. And Lizzo's response was simple. She said, quote, yeah, there's hella white people at my shows. What am I gonna do? Turn them away? My music is for everybody. But she went a little more into detail and depth as to why she makes the music that she loves to make. She said, quote, as a black woman, I make music for people from an experience that is from a black woman. I'm making music that hopefully makes other people feel good and helps me discover self-love. That message I want to go directly to black women. Big black women, black trans women, period.
Wow.
Word.
Hello.
Wow.
Oh, amen. Amen to everything I just
You know,
said.
one of the things that I liked about her is when she was talked about the LGBTQI community. She says, I love the fact of the rainbow, that we are all together, instead of a world where everything is black or white. And I think that it indicates what type of person she is. If she offends one group or the other, hey, she's doing a hell of a job. She's going ahead, creating an image, and making a lot of women proud. Doesn't matter that you're black, Hispanic, white. And that, to me, is the important thing. And I respect this woman.
I would like to know who went to the black communities and did a poll or a scientific, did some scientific research to find out if black people like Lizzo's music so that they could determine that her music is only specifically
it was
for white.
It was the Aryan guy at the table. It was me.
Did you?
Yeah, I went around to every door.
To piggyback on what Aaron had said, and that's exactly what I was going to say before Aaron brought it up. Eminem makes music that you could say is for black people. Nobody criticizes him. You know, he's celebrated.
He's a man.
You know,
Life.
When Michael Jackson was around, you could argue that he made music for white people because a lot of the people, most of the people I would say that were at his concerts were white around the world. So is that a fair criticism? I mean, whoever said that is absolutely idiotic. Absolutely idiotic.
Iggy Azalea said it.
Well,
Iggy Azalea said
Listen,
it.
this is her.
Well, there's your
She's
answer, Power.
scraping right now. She's scraping at a little few minutes in the limelight. She's trying to ride the coattail of Lizzo. You know, Iggy needs to sit down, okay, and focus on her own career. That's what I have to say about that.
It's funny, and I said this at one of the It's Happening Out shows about my musical experience. I have I have great interest in music. I get lots of reads. I get, as the white privilege, older white privilege, I get reads because I like X or Y or Z. And you shouldn't like that because you're an older white privileged guy, and so therefore that's not your demographic or that's not your music. And it is always a bit offensive to me because it's like you don't get the right to decide what I'm enjoying listening to. This seems like the exact same thing in reverse.
And it's almost ironic because we're just getting out of a controversy with Iggy Azalea, who was trying to detach herself from her manager, who was controlling her music, controlling her sexuality, controlling her identity. And so there is some juxtaposition we have to put into play here. She's now doing this potentially to another artist, and maybe that is the cycle of abuse because she was feeling that from her, her own manager.
I have to close this celebrity hot topic up, but remember we were going to talk about the Grammys.
Yes.
Billie Eilish, Billie Eilish, Billie Eilish, Billie Eilish.
Oh yeah, she won
I said
stuff.
it 4
Also-
times. She won everything.
Oh, and Lil Nas X was there too.
And
Hey
Lil
Girl,
Nas
Hey.
was, yes.
And
exactly.
Michelle Obama won a Grammy.
Okay, all right.
It was great. It was powerful.
And for me, which is a big deal, and a lot of people in the industry, I'd like to say congratulations to Tracy Young.
Yes.
DJ
Absolutely right.
Yeah, good, Tracy.
Who was the first woman that was nominated for a remix and won.
Mm-hmm.
Good job.
She paved the way for a lot of women, and that's my girl.
Yeah, that's right. All right. We move out of celebrity hot topics and we move into a segment that we call Best Thing of the Week. We try to bring you something that no matter what is happening in the world that might be kind of tough, we're going to show you something fun. And we are going to Australia. Watch our Best Thing of the Week. Watch this. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I did.
I'll watch. I'm sorry. I'll watch this and make lots of noises for everybody. Don't worry.
We thought that this was very appropriate to show in relation to the fires going on, and the Australian firefighters calendar has been released for 2020, and you're getting to watch the firemen. So they're during the day. They're in the fields fighting the largest fire in 1,000 years,
Look at that.
and in the evening.
No, this is ridiculous. We discuss every week. Not
really good.
I think I'm the only single person at the table still, and so we discuss every week like what it means to be with someone and stuff. It's like, well, I don't meet these people, these hot firefighters that are willing to give their lives every time they go out.
Well, you
and then
got to come
also,
out of the grinder environment, Napoleon.
why can't they just all be on Grindr?
Or the grinder environment 5 minutes before I come to the show environment.
Hey, it's not my fault. There's occasionally one of these Australian firefighters on Grindr, okay, and I'm gonna be there.
Okay.
I will find them.
These are really
I'm gonna
hot
find them.
firefighters.
These are the best.
guys.
This is my A team of the world, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
You go team. Look how beautiful you are.
Any
What you're doing in the
other
universe.
thoughts of our Best Thing of the Week? Did it qualify by your standards?
Are you sending the link to us so then we can rewatch this later?
He waved
It's
to me.
ingrained
He
in
was
my memory.
waving directly to me, by the way. Just to make sure y'all know. All right, that's our Best Thing of the Week. And it was fun. And I echo, send me the link, please, for later this evening.
I'm asking for a friend, of course.
All right. We move into our next thing called What's on Our Mind and What's on Your Mind as host at It's Happening Out. And I'm going to ask each of the hosts, over the course of the last week, what's become important to you? And you tell us quickly about what's on your mind. Who wants to start?
I'll start.
Ron.
I was just in Costa Rica, And I was absolutely amazed to find out that that's the first country that has absolutely no zoos. Second, no wild animals can be kept in cage. And in the year 2024, no animal, not even a bird, can be kept in cages. I think that is wonderful.
Wow.
That a little country like that is making animals such a priority. I wonder when it's time for us in the United States to get rid of the zoos and wild parks and let these animals live free and enjoy the rest of their life.
Well,
Very
you know,
interesting.
some people do like being captive.
Yeah, but not animals.
What else on what's on our mind?
Recently we had a pro-life march, and it's on my mind because as a woman and currently under this administration, there seems to be a full-on attack, full press court attack on our bodies. And I just want to say, you can be pro-choice and still be pro-life. And the conversation needs to be a little deeper. And, currently, men need to really catch on to this conversation, because the moment that you get behind something and you think that it's just about our bodies, the moment we set precedent, they'll come after your bodies too.
Thank you. What's on your mind? Who's next?
For me, I was in Wisconsin this past weekend. I was visiting my former sub, and he's a couple of years older than me.
Define sub.
A sub is a submissive. A sub is somebody who answers to me in a matter of respect, a la the army in terms of hierarchy, and he's family to me. And I wanted to help him find a community there. I took him to a lot of the gay bars that were even open to other people, fetish bars. And it was easy for me to get attention. I just had to take my shirt off and be charming and dance or do whatever because I am the social person. And I got a lot of people to contact me, but I wasn't able to get people to see that he is actually the reason that I'm the way that I am. I'm able to be outspoken and charming and friendly because I have supportive people like him who are unconditionally loving and supportive and just good people, that it takes people like that to create anyone else. And it was unfortunate for me because I wasn't able to help him find new friends in the way that I wanted to.
Does that, just quickly, does that reflect a shallowness in that community?
I think it's part of all communities, and maybe it's how, I'm a damaged LGBTQ person. I want people to give me attention, but I also want to use that for the greater good. Sexuality is a part of us all, and I wanted to help him find a community that he's been so desperately lacking, and I feel like I failed.
Interesting. Power, what's on your mind?
Well, what's on my mind is with this week's tragedy with Kobe Bryant dying, and a pillar of our community, Terry DiCarlo, passing away. It really just reminds us once again that, we might not be here at the end of the year. We might not be here at the end of the week. We might not be here tomorrow. Like I said earlier in the show, tomorrow is not promised. So we really, really need to say the things that we have to say while we can say them. Do the things that we need to do while we can do them. And really celebrate life while we have it, because life is but a whisper.
Mm-hmm. And you've experienced tragedy in this last year, so it's very good advice.
Yes, it really does hit home.
Yeah, and Aaron, what's on your mind?
I'm in the last year of my undergraduate degree at Nova Southeastern University. Course Ron, I'm a political science major. It focuses on international relations. And I'm taking this course right now called Middle Eastern Public Policy and Politics. And I went into this class very ignorant. When I say ignorant, meaning lacking of knowledge. I was not as well-versed as I should be on the history of the Middle East. And just really taking into account that in wake of an announcement this week of the Trump administration and their peace initiative, if you will, between Israelis and Palestinians, that before people open their mouths about people who are Jewish or people who are Muslim or whatever faith they might be or wherever they demographically live in this world, I think that they should really pick up a book and read first.
Yeah, that's very good advice.
Very good.
Read and create knowledge is a desirable goal. So that's on what's on our host mind this week, and we'll frequently do this. We're going to move into kind of a game, but it's a different kind of game that we call Saved by the Bell. Now you can see I've got this red and blue happenstance. It's by accident that it's red and blue. No, it really isn't. And Saved by the Bell is a quick game that we're going to play where we're going to kind of do a lightning round of a variety of different topics that are super important to us in today and in last days. I'm going to ask everyone to participate in a free form and a very short fashion of some of the big headlines, both fun and serious, and hear what our hosts have to say. Everybody understand what we're going to do?
Got it.
When I hit the bell, if they're in mid-sentence, they've got to finish the sentence, and then we move on to the next. We all agree? Here we go. Saved by the bell. Number one. Mitch McConnell has announced that he lacks the number of impeachment votes available. What do you think is going to happen? What's the result?
All of the Republicans and all of the Democrats have already stated they think that no matter what, he's not going to be removed from office. So it doesn't matter who defects to the other side, even though it will be curious to see who then becomes maybe a part of the other party in years future. We've had a lot of candidates come forward and switch from one party to another because of votes like this.
I think it affects the Democratic Party because now you have the Democratic candidates, which are all senators, sitting there instead of going out and campaigning. And I predict that in Monday in Iowa, it's going to change the political spectrum and the race. It's going to get much more different.
Does this, in Iowa, for the
in
caucus,
Iowa,
does this deliver to Bernie Sanders, do you think?
I think at the end of the day, might not be Bernie Sanders as much as I think you got to keep an eye on the mayor. Mayor Pete, I think he will be raising, growing up there.
He's in 5th place right now, according to a poll. The one really to watch, the dark horse. Amy Klobuchar went from 6th place to 3rd.
That's very true.
That's the one to watch.
But again, the senators are the ones who are being affected by this.
Exactly. So I would think it would benefit Joe Biden the most.
Okay. We're there. Question number 2 in Saved by the Bell, or topic number 2. Iowa Republicans have been trying to ban the trans pride flag flying in public buildings. What do you think about banning trans pride flags?
I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I think my Republican brethren should be concerned about balancing the budget, creating opportunities, and giving opportunities to everybody. If this is what they're doing, it's because, again, unfortunately, in the Republican Party, we still have leftovers from the Tea Party era, which, God willing, didn't go anywhere. And so I think this is a waste of time for the taxpayers in Iowa and for the rest of the country. Let's move on.
I have to say, I am pleasantly surprised that seriously, for the first time, we have a Republican host on the panel who, yes, will probably disagree. I will definitely disagree with you on a lot of things politically. But I find it interesting and have respect for somebody that can call their own party out and call a right and a wrong a wrong, which our last 2 hosts could not do. So I have to give you applause and kudos because you turned it.
And as we move out of that, Power only says that, Ron, because he doesn't want to dodge any more Mike Packs being president. That's the only reason he says it.
Whoa.
Let's move into Saved by the Bell topic number 3, and that's the coronavirus.
Oh, God.
54 million people are basically imprisoned. I'm using a word that's too harsh. Quarantine. Thank you. British Airways has announced a ban to flights to the mainland, and the Trump administration and U.S. airlines are considering the exact same thing, a complete cessation of flights between the world and the United States to China. What do y'all think about the coronavirus and what's going on?
I think Americans really need to take this virus very seriously because it has a lot of flu and cold-like symptoms, and that's going around right now, particularly in the state of Florida where we're at. So with that being said, if someone feels sick, they should go to the doctor.
Yeah.
We called to ban travel, and British Airways and apparently American carriers are going to do that. Why don't we have a meeting, an international meeting, and get all the scientists to get together and try to figure out how to cure the disease? Here's the problem. We try to give solution, an aspirin, to try to, instead of dealing with the crisis. And the crisis right now is human beings are dying, the infection is growing, and we should find a cure. A cure.
God darn it,
I'm sick and tired of blaming everybody else and not using the resources to find the cure.
You sound like a Democrat. I love it.
Has anybody died yet?
Yeah. 84, I believe.
Yeah.
Over 100 people have died at this point.
Just today, it's been reported just today that the number of people that have died in China has increased just today by 30%.
And it's also worth note to say
they're reporting in the mid 100s, and it's likely dramatically.
I mean, Shanghai Disney closed. This is actually probably a lot bigger than what we're being told. This is a very big deal. It's not just from the deaths that are being reported, but it's from the level of the fact that it takes so many days, up to 2 weeks, for it to even be seen in another person. So our standard practices of keeping safe are not going to keep us safe.
And has a source been identified?
Well, yeah, that's where's the origin of this disease come
from?
No,
it hasn't been identified yet. China waited too long. One of the things that, and we're reporting this in Q News tonight, we broadcast every night live at 7 o'clock. A jet yesterday evacuated Americans out of China, and they did not bring them to the mainland United States. They brought them to Alaska for isolation. And they did a quarantine flight and went through a battery of tests, and they've released them. But it was an indication to me that this issue, and especially for us, is way bigger than we are talking about.
I learned that from the first time when I was at O'Hare the day that they announced that it was the new person that was going to be that was coronavirus positive there, and it was terrifying because you could see the airport react in a way that they were shutting down. They were starting to take it over.
Okay, we move into Saved by the Bell topic number 4. It's making national and even international news. I've seen it in London. Former It's Happening Out host, who is president of the Log Cabin Republicans here in South Florida, has written an editorial op-ed that appeared in the major newspaper here in South Florida, saying that that the gay community should be voting for Donald Trump because Donald Trump is the most pro-gay president in history. What did you think?
Okay, so listen, Andrew, Brett, and I, of course, definitely do not agree, but he is actually one of the few Trump supporters that I actually like on a personal level. But in our room, our group page, which, by the way, everybody should go and check out our group page, Andrew has come in there and said the same thing. I listed 3 years worth of the discrimination administration's attempts to strip us of our rights, of our liberties. And I asked Andrew to comment and refute any of those facts. Andrew has not done that. So Andrew, if you're watching this, I'm asking you. Good. Then I'm telling you once again, come on and bring the receipts, bitch. I did.
Well, I personally think that he is a great president. I think he is a good president. He's doing what we hired him to do, which make our economy great. I do believe that he has lifted the African American community with more jobs opportunities. The same with women, the same with Hispanics, and the same with the LGBTQ community. We do have a good president.
All right, we move to topic number 5 in Saved by the Bell, and that is a game that is sweeping the country called the Dolly Parton Challenge. But there was a twist this week on the Dolly Parton Challenge where other people, especially in the LGBT community, started to make fun of the challenge. One was Eminem, and we're showing you some video of that where he included his grinder picture. Also, Willem did a challenge, and I read a very interesting editorial about the Dolly Parton Challenge is so much fun until the gay guys, it was a gay article, the gay guys get a hold of it, and we just can't have anything nice was the name of the editorial. What do you think about the Dolly Parton Challenge and what's going on?
I think it's great. I mean, I think Dolly Parton's a genius. I mean, she's poking fun of the fact that people are so caught up in social media. But there are so many forms of social media. And I think the larger extent of the conversation that perhaps Dolly was trying to get to is that we're all caught up in social media. Maybe we should take some more time in talking to each other.
I think you're showing it exactly right. We discussed this on Q News tonight. This is just a way of showing how the LGBTQ community, among many others, has to have different faces to survive in different parts of the community. On LinkedIn, you have to have one type of persona. On Facebook, another. On these other platforms, another. And that's part of what many groups, especially the LGBTQ community, has had to deal with over time. We have to have different faces that we present to different groups we organize with because we can't be our authentic selves. And that's part of the problem here, is that we can't be just
I
an
love the
integral
creativity.
person.
Willem from RuPaul's Drag Race, one of his Dolly Parton challenges was his profile on Uber Eats. And I thought that was hilarious.
Just so that everybody knows, Eminem's Grinder pick is actually
fake.
Obviously.
Yeah, don't tell 13-year-old me that, okay?
It was-
We're
it
good.
was the
Exactly.
David
All right.
LaChapelle.
All right.
And
We
Slim
move
Shady.
into our next Saved by the Bell topic, and that is RuPaul's Drag Race. Carmen Carrera has written this week that RuPaul is compared to Hitler in a scathing attack over trans queen, and Drag Race royalty Detox challenges RuPaul to, quote unquote, put your money where your mouth is and start casting trans queens. What did y'all think of this very stark call out?
Well, All Right for Detox, that's my sister. All Right for Detox, she made sense. Carmen Carrera, it's no shade. I've worked with her many times, but she didn't make any sense. I mean, sometimes when Carmen talks, she just, whatever cause she's trying to promote, she just takes it 2 steps back. How are you going to compare RuPaul, who is a host of a game show, to Hitler, who killed, 6 million Jews and destroyed the world. I mean, come on. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Detox, she made a very, very valid point, which sparked a bigger conversation on social media, especially on my page, which is transgender individuals, are they considered drag? And yes, of course they are. Of course they are. Drag is, and I wrote something about this. Drag is not a identity. It is what you do, and drag is for everybody. Period. Point blank.
I'd love to hear. Oh,
Sorry.
You have to say.
We move into the next
say shit.
Saved by the Bell topic this week. It brought everybody to a stop. Saturday Night Live star Bowen Yang reveals that when he was 17 years old, he was forced into gay conversion therapy, and he talks about it this week. What do y'all think?
That's absolutely horrible. That in our society, people would actually think that type of therapy works. It does not. It has not. It will not. Okay? And I think anyone who pushes this idea, including the conservative movement, the ultra-conservative movement, you're making a mistake. If you care about God, you will understand that you come as He wants you to be, or she wants you to be. I've argued with many of my Christian friends and said, guys, stop attacking, because you're probably going to just die, go to heaven, find out God is a lesbian, Hispanic, black, with Oriental features, and you are all screwed, okay? All right? With a sense of humor, that is wild. And I think we have to stop. We really do. This is not right. It is not right.
What do you? Well, I completely agree with everything that you're saying, but
Yeah, they're becoming a Republican.
I'm sorry, wait, what?
no, I agree with what you're saying. But what do you say to those judges and the people that are in the Trump administration within the cabinet that support this notion, that support things like gay conversion therapy?
You tell them,
the Vice
you
President.
tell them
And the
exactly
Vice
what
President of the United
you
States.
tell them like what many of us LGBTQ Republicans have gone in. Because my battle is not with my brothers and sisters in the LGBT community. It is with the Republicans.
Tell that to your president.
That is my president. I'm
We
proud.
move on to the next topic. This Sunday is the Super Bowl, and it's taking place, America, right here in our backyard, about 12 miles from our set here. I have very sad news to report.
It's awful.
We have to, and we're going to show this to you in a moment, rest in peace from the Super Bowl, Mr. Peanut. Watch this.
I just died in your arms tonight. Oh, look out! Abandon we're too heavy. Matt, let go. No, you let go. Hey, Mr. Peanut, no, you don't. Don't do it, Mr. Peanut. No! Maybe he'll be all right. Maybe not.
So Mr. Peanut is dead. And it was reported this week in advance of the Super Bowl. He is 104
He was
years
104, 1916 to 2020.
So he must have been assaulted, Nut.
Yes.
I mean,
He must have been
like I
assaulted.
said earlier on the show, tomorrow is just not promised.
Yes, exactly right.
No matter if you're a nut or whatever else.
Now let me set up more, and I think we're going to show some background video also. Mr. Peanut is really, really dead, and Planters on Sunday is going to announce, now that he has died, who the new spokesperson for Planters Peanuts is going to be. Now, the best part of this story, besides the terrible, tragic death of Mr. Peanut, is all of the other brand mascots that have come into
That's
Twitter
so cute.
talking
Amazing.
about their loss and their feelings of losing their compatriot. What do y'all think about Mr. Peanut's death?
I love those brands that have gotten involved. Was it Pornhub that was stating, the taste of your nuts will live in infamy or something like that? Like, I love that. And you were talking about one from Kraft
Macaroni and Cheese said, our box is especially blue today.
Isn't that adorable to have
It
all
is.
these different comments?
It's funny that we poke fun of it, but I mean, really, to this, I mean, I didn't even know Mr. Peanut actually had a real name. It was Bartholomew Richard Fitzgerald Smythe.
Yeah.
Who knew that?
I know.
But it's funny. So at the Super Bowl, they're going to announce who the new Planters mascot's going to be, and I heard that they're replacing it with a real nut, and it's Ann Coulter.
Oh.
Who knew? Oh, that wasn't nice. That wasn't nice, Aaron.
I'll stop buying.
Why did he do that? Why did Aaron do that?
Where's the lie?
Can we just all universally agree that the marketing genius behind this to be able to kill Mr. Peanut after 104 years, announce the new mascot in the Super Bowl, and then get all of these other brands to do it?
Reese's.
He deserves like $1 million bonus.
Whoever did that.
It's genius.
It's
because
life
we're talking
insurance.
about it.
It's a life insurance policy.
Exactly. So we move out of something very fun to something that is seriously very sad, close to many of us here at the table. We're sad to report that Terry DiCarlo, who was the executive director of the Orlando LGBT Community Center, has died, and we are reporting it. Now, America, you likely do not recognize Terry DiCarlo's name, but for me and others here at the table, we certainly do. He was a resident here in Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He's been suffering from cancer for quite a while. But he is super famous, as we're showing you in this background at this moment of Saved by the Bell. He was the executive director when Pulse took place. And
Yes,
he was a leading voice for the gay and LGBT community in Orlando and for the entire world in the first minutes, hours, and days of Pulse. He was a friend of mine. He reached out to me over the loss of my friend, Eddie Sotomayor, and I've posted today my gratitude to him. Thoughts about the loss of Terry DiCarlo?
He was a superhero. He had always done good things in our community, but when we were in a time of need, you know that more than any of us here, he was willing to step back, put himself aside, and make sure that he was the leader that we needed him to be, and he led us to a at least stable place after the Pulse attacks, and that's something that you cannot understate in any capacity. He put himself and his health behind the rest of the needs of the community to make sure that we were taken care of. So he deserves, as far as I'm concerned, a veteran salute, a military salute, because he did something that most people can't do and get out of themselves.
You know, one of the things that I will always remember is right after the tragedy, he picked up the phone and reached out to me and said, how do we get the Puerto Rican community, which was one of the communities that suffered the most victims, how do we get them in the island? How do we help them? What do we do? And those of us that lost friends at Pulse will always remember the great role that he played in ensuring of healing the community, of bringing us together and talking. And, you know, God bless him. God bless him. God bless what he did for our community throughout the country.
And beyond Pulse, if you're somebody that is in the nightlife industry, he was, of course, a legend. Any event that was something for the community, be it winter party or white party, he was always involved. He was always there. I mean, we're talking about him in Orlando at Pulse. But in South Florida, he was also a pillar of the community. I mean, because he was, he lived his life in servitude, and he really loved our community. And this is just such a loss across so many platforms. And I just feel horrible for his husband. And this is something that is going to be felt.
I have to echo, as we close Saved by the Bell, I have to echo to that exact observation. I posted today the last time I had seen Terry, and by the way, what a magnificent picture this is.
It's a beautiful photo.
South Florida Gay News, a very good newspaper for the LGBT community here in South Florida. Congratulations. Everyone should read this article. You can read this online. It is a beautiful and outstanding tribute. Go to sfgn.com to read it. I saw Terry last at World AIDS Day candlelight vigil. He was in a wheelchair. He was masked. He was clearly in a hardship situation for his medical condition, and he still comes out for World AIDS Day.
Yeah.
To your point, he all the way to the end put our community in front of himself. He deserves tribute, if for no other reason.
Absolutely.
If for no other reason. So that, and Terry, you're going to be missed, this entire community. And I don't mean just here in South Florida, I mean everywhere. This entire community is going to miss you. And we respect you tonight in the loss of Terry DeCarlo's death. One last thing that we want to talk about tonight before we play a game is talking about an article that has appeared in multiple places, especially in Reddit, and that is the conversation over consent and how consent has evolved over the years and what kind of consent in relationship, in sexual activity, etc., what kind of consents are there. And so we want to launch that conversation. Who would like to start?
I think it's most logical for me to start. I think that consent is a very basic premise in terms of sexual or interactive identity between anyone of a similar sex. And part of why it becomes such a gray area is because even in my community, the leather community, the kink community, there is a large idea that consent is something that is not necessary. That's not my practice. My practice is safe, sane, consensual, that it's respectful, honest, open, and communicative, or communicating. And that's something that is a part of my community. It's a part of how you go against these rape perspectives, even if it's a scene that people play in, which is why rape scenes in particular are why this comes to my community in my forefront. But consent is something that affects us all as we relate day to day as LGBTQ people, because that is what brings us together, is the fact that we are of either the same sexual identity or we identify as a different sexual identity or sexual orientation. And that means that consent is something that has to be discussed more, or else we risk the idea of imposing ourselves on another person.
I think it's important, too, to note from a female perspective, growing up as a woman, a young woman, there are a lot of women in the world who are being touched without their consent. And that's just like in a social setting. When we go to a club or we're out socially with our friends, being touched and, on our anywhere, in a matter of fact, but everywhere, and just thinking that it's okay. In the workplace, I'm a business owner, and making sure that there is a safe understanding of what that consent looks like, and just personal space in general.
I have been when I first came here for It's Happening Out, been here, we've done 70 shows about now, maybe a little more. When I first came here, it was really breathtakingly shocking to me. Of course, we're in a bubble. This is one of the largest gay communities in the country, the gayest place on planet Earth. I went to a bar here, no reflection on the bar, but I went to a bar here early on with production and friends at It's Happening Out. And from the bathroom to the front, where my friends and associates at It's Happening Out were, I was touched 3 times from the bathroom to the front. And when I mean touched, I mean a reach down as I'm walking by and completely groped.
Yeah.
And I thought, wait, what did I do to cause this? Now, first, I like to be touched, but where was the consent participation there? And when I posed that observation, Here in South Florida, the conversation is, well, you're in this place, and therefore that was your expectation. When did I give up my right?
No, many people have said that to Al. I've been a part of those conversations, and they've said it to me too. Oh, you're choosing to go to this unnamed establishment on the drive. You are then consenting to the fact that it is a big, sweaty night, and then you're going in. You've been with me when I've just been walking down the street post-show from here, and people have had commentary on the fact that I'm wearing suspenders, much less anything else.
I walked down the street here in Wilton Manors with Napoleon, and complete strangers speak in inappropriate ways. That's the consent issue. In inappropriate ways that totally sexualize him. Now, first off, he's not female, but it's the exact same experience of what you just talked about.
I learned about you and what my mother experienced because of this drive.
Yeah.
We cannot continue to allow that or permit this. We've got to start talking and saying, look, you respect me no matter what. And I applaud people that will turn around and slap the shit out of anybody who's being disrespectful.
We just covered a story of that.
I just feel that's wrong. Now, if you talk about it, you agree, that's fine. But to be disrespectful for anybody, against anyone, is just absolutely disgusting. That we're actually having to talk about this right now. And I think that it's the hang-up. People think just because you're friendly or you have a nice chest, oh, I can do with it. This is ignorance, and we cannot allow society to continue living that type of.
And in the gay community, it's the big penis syndrome frequently.
I have, now that we bring up this conversation, I'm sitting here thinking, and honestly, if I'm being honest, I have never really been offended or triggered or insulted, really, by somebody groping or touching me in a club. I mean, I've said no or beat it and moved on, and never really gave it a thought after that. Well, oh my goodness, he sexually harassed me, or he didn't ask for consent. I mean, I just didn't even give it another thought, and I think it's because I am so used to, my world is nightlife, and I'm so used to being in clubs. If I'm not working, I'm in a club, and that is something that is so prevalent. For me, I just never really even thought about it.
This conceptual idea. I want to make a connection in seeing how this washes over you. Your acceptance of what you do as a job, as a fact, and then the acceptance of that, how is that any different than an actress that is trying to compete in a movie with Harvey Weinstein? They're living in that environment just like what you just said, you're in the environment you're living in.
Well, once again, I'm saying for me. Harvey Weinstein, I think it's a little bit different because Harvey Weinstein used his power to basically force people or try to force and intimidate people. Whereas me in a club, if somebody gropes me, they're not.
Why can't the entire club and the industry you work at be the Harvey Weinstein metaphor?
Once again, the reason for me that it did not wash over me as some type of attack is because I can just say beat it and walk away and not even think about it. Whereas these people are, they're affected by Harvey Weinstein.
It may not affect you, but it may affect other individuals.
You
are strong, and you are powerful, and you are
and
a character that can withstand that.
Yeah, I'm not negating anybody else's feelings or their experience. I'm just saying now that we're talking about it, to be honest, it's never really hit me or resonated the same way.
I appreciate that because it definitely has for me. Like I said, I understand more of what my mother grew up with by walking down these streets and feeling like the only thing I have of value to this world is the fact that I have a chest or an ass, which is not how anyone wants to feel. And I'm taking it to the next level with this next part of this conversation, which is not from Harvey Weinstein, but from Bill Cosby, because there are a lot of people, and I have been one of them, that then they take consent even out of the question by giving you a roofie, by doing something that they do. They take your ability to say no for whatever purpose, de facto, de jure, out of the way. You don't have the option to say no. Does that change the game for you?
Well, of course. I think it would resonate with me if it was something like that. If I was roofied or, something like that. Now I'm ready to whoop some ass.
I'm going to move on. Any other final thoughts here on the
Well, I do have to say something because, you just mentioned Harvey Weinstein. You just mentioned Donald Trump. And earlier, Ron, you said that, it's important that we talk about this. And I think that we have to, because you had said something earlier about, we don't. It kind of normalizes it in society. And let's be honest, we're on the Me Too movement, and we have a predator that's living in the White House right now that allegedly has groped and touched and been very inappropriate with women. And unfortunately,
You're absolutely right. We had one. He was also vice president.
Okay, so anyway,
And a Democratic vice
getting
president.
back to my point is that right now we have someone that has been accused on multiple occasions
Outright
over
stated.
decades upon decades of sexual misconduct amongst women and girls. And again, the office that he holds and that he represents, it normalizes it to a broader aspect of society, toxic masculinity, heteronormative society, and it makes it okay. So we need to call it out whenever we see it, even when it's in our own party.
We should have done it with Clinton. We should continue
And
doing
we
it with Biden.
continue to
and
call
we'll
it out with
continue
Bill
it.
Clinton.
But it's
We
we
almost-
should and must be
we
called
almost-
out.
we
You're-
almost
you
impeached
must
him
call
for
it
it.
out.
We're getting-
Every-
we almost
You're-
impeached
you're
him
right.
for it.
We
Bill
We
Clinton
should, we
never
should have
said grab
done
him by the
it.
pussy.
We should have done it, but we're correcting it by doing it now. We're calling out
Okay.
Trump
We're doing it
for the
right.
rapist that he is.
I'm going to bring the topic to a close. One thing that I want to say that we reported at
What you
Q
wanna say,
News,
Al?
that surprised me at Q News in terms of consent. It's not just this. It can also be physical involvement. And we reported at Q News that in the LGBT community, surveys are showing 1 in 5 in relationship, in male gay relationships, 1 in 5 have had physical abuse in their relationship. Shockingly, 3 to 3.5 out of, 2 out of 10, 1 out of 5, same thing. 3 to 3.5 out of 10 of lesbians
and the number
have had physical abuse in their
And the numbers are
relationship.
even higher in fetish-oriented communities that don't have the training to know that that's not what should be acceptable.
And it's a broad consent issue that's affecting us in every way.
But
All right.
it harms at the core.
Interesting conversation. I appreciate it. Let's finish the show today or tonight with our game Shag, Marry, Chop. And I'm really looking forward to this one because, as you know, we play Shag, Marry, Chop. Each of the hosts have to tell us. We're going to show some integration pictures of who they would shag. Everybody knows what that means. And by the way, we are in an environment where I can say the word fuck. Shag means fuck. Okay, and then who you're going to marry and who are you going to chop. Tonight we're going to play male rappers. Male rappers and Shag, Marry,
I always
Chop.
play male rappers.
And let me show you each one as we set it up. First, a bisexual male rapper, Milan Christopher.
Sold.
And, ooh, isn't that a wonderful picture? And then a gay male rapper, Lil Nas X.
Rented.
He was the pinkest thing on this week at the Grammys. And then our straight is 50 Cent. 50.
Does
Somebody help me.
50.
Okay.
Does,
all right.
is he still around?
Okay, let's play. Well, he's alive,
Yeah, I didn't even
and
know.
that's our only standard. Wait, that's
Not even- not
our
even.
standard. You can be dead.
You were
and we'll
ever
play
a
this
human
game.
being, maybe that,
That's right.
some other creature.
All right, let's play Shag, Marry, Chop, male rappers. Who wants to jump right in?
I'll do it. I'll do it.
Go get it. Go get it, Aaron.
Before someone has sex with a Trump, they say, let's get this over with, so I'll do it. So for me, so Shag, I guess I would probably have to pick 50 Cent, or as I lovingly refer to him as $half. I appreciate him, his music, and I wouldn't mind his candy shop. So Shag. Mary, I'm going to have to go with Milan because he looks like he's already in Florida and just geographically it'd be easy.
Convenient.
And then Chop, Lil Nas. He's a little too young for me.
Too young.
Yeah.
There's some stories there. Okay, who else? That's interesting. Shag, Marry, Chop.
I will hop in. I'm going to agree with our Gen Zer right here. I grew up with 50 Cent. I think one time, he can take a lot of bullets, he can take a lot of heat. One time, a shag might be fun. I'll just keep him, without the ability to speak or rap, because I don't want to hear anything he has to say. But I would love to marry Milan because I am very captivated by his sense of sexuality and sensuality in just this image that I'm seeing
He's
right here.
beautiful in this
But
video.
also, he's not just beautiful. He's
isn't he?
like the way he's dressing himself. He seems to be connected to the spirits and vibes, and I love that.
Wait, is he wearing a fishtail?
He is totally
He's a merman.
He's totally part of your world, guys.
Oh, well, he's about to be because I'm about to marry him. And then, unfortunately, I didn't really think that entirely through, but like it means I'm going to have to chop Lil Nas X because I think he has a little bit more maturing to do before he becomes the superstar that he's probably going to be. He's just come out. He's just getting some of these big awards, and I think he has a lot of self-identification that he's going to grow into. I applaud where he's at now because it's far more than I was at my current age, and I think that he's going to become an even greater person. So ask me this in 3 years, and I'd probably have it completely switched.
By the way, y'all probably haven't seen it yet. Lil Nas has a commercial with Doritos in Super Bowl this Sunday, and it is incredible. He's in Tombstone, Arizona, and he's a Wild West, and I can't even give it away who he is. The cowboy in black, and the cowboy in white is going to stun you. And
it's Ann Coulter.
It's really fun. All right, who else? Shag, Marry, Chop.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and shag Biddy because he's like, totally my type.
Male.
Well, the male
Read,
version
let her
of
read.
my type.
That was a read.
Yeah, back in the day, trust. I got stories. It's been a long time, though, honey.
We were
Okay, a
talking
long time.
about friends with benefits earlier. I didn't realize you could be one of them.
Yeah, I'm not a gold star. Okay, but then I think I'm gonna marry Mr. Milan. That whole merman thing.
Yeah, that look, his eyes right there.
Yeah, he looks like he'd be a lot of fun.
Very bubbles and pearls.
Right? Exactly.
She just wants his oysters.
And I'd have to chop Lil Nas because he's a young man and he could be cool and all, but
he's young.
I think he would be a good party friend. You know what I mean?
Boyish, is that what you're
He's
kind
too
of
boyish.
Your boy wants
Not
to
enough-
party all the
not-
time.
Not enough man there.
I would agree with Napoleon. I would marry.
We've all
Milan.
three-
I think
we've all
Milan,
four said the same
is showing something that I would be interested in. I do see in him spirituality. I think he cares more. There's more connection. I see more connection with the way he is, the way he acts, with my beliefs. So I would marry him. No doubt about it. I'll chat with 50 Cent. That's it. You know who I'm going to chop. So why even go over?
Little Nas is chopped.
We all agree.
He's done
Why?
really badly tonight, hasn't he? Power, I've been sitting here watching your face through this whole segment going, Power's saying to me, child, I can't be bothered. That's what he's been saying to me. So tell me who
I'll
you're
take
going
all
to
your
shag,
remains, don't
marry,
worry.
and
Well,
chop.
then you can have all three.
Aw, give it to the slut.
I would chop all three, but since we have to play the game.
You have to play the game. Wait, one more time. Oh, I love. You must.
I would shag 50 Cent.
Big boy.
Because I can't.
Because you want the what is the
Well,
candy stick?
do it and get it
Candy
over.
shop.
Candy.
Do it and get it over with.
Magic stick.
And I would marry, what's the child's name? In the mermaid.
Milan.
But it would be a marriage in name only. So
Oh my god.
that's how I work that.
I love. I have demanded that Power plays the game, and he is in every way going to go. I am going to poke you right in the eye. I love it.
I will shag him, but only begrudgingly,
Only
with my eyes
begrudgingly.
closed. I will do it
With my
missionary
eyes
style
closed.
for 1
I'm
minute
not
exactly.
even going to speak.
And of
To
course,
piss Al off.
Of course, I'm gonna chop Lil Nas because he's a girlfriend, and I don't.
I thought it used that ass.
Anti-flamboyancy at
You know,
the
he
table.
was on the Today Show this morning, and I had this reaction. And gosh, I really kind of hate to say this, but he is coming out of the closet, literally, and it's interesting to me because I wondered when I watched him this morning, do most gay men, did I do it? Do you come out of the closet like in Gangbusters and exaggerate your gayness?
I did.
Because that's what.
Oh my God! No, you totally don't do that. You just do what you
Did that
are
this
and
morning.
feel who you are.
And I thought,
you can go overdo
wait,
it.
That's not how I've heard and seen him before. It's just he's busting out.
You balance it out over time. You find a new thing that you find as
I
a
thought that
part
was
of your
it.
identity, and then you connect to it, and you just you want to embrace it.
Okay, well, that's our game, Shag, Marry, Chop, and we are about finished, which means we're getting ready to have some pizza.
Oh, yay. Great.
And we are going to bring in our favorite pizza delivery guy here in
Listen,
South
I lost
Florida.
10 pounds while I was in New York recently.
With
okay,
oh no, careful. And
my God.
welcome back.
Oh, God.
Dude.
And we're going to have this is Jet's
I
pizza.
feel the weight on.
It's Detroit style pizza.
Yeah, it's delicious.
You get lots of corners on it. It's really thick.
Oh my God! Look, trim spa. Trim spa.
Thank you, and we can't wait to have some pizza. That's our show tonight, and we're going to say goodnight to you, America. Thank you very much. As we always say, we try to pursue varieties of things that we talk about. I think we did that again tonight. I give, or we give, the opportunity for everyone to say goodnight, and tonight's no exception. So, Ron, let's start with you.
Unity, understanding, respect. That must be the centerpiece of the LGBTQI community. It must be our responsibility, each one of us, to defend and respect and have the necessary conversation to make our community the greatest in the world.
That's been a lovely message, and we welcome you now to the family. And it's happening out next week, America. In addition to Saved by the Bell for our game, I'm going to have a red Republican bell that has a big round X circle through it. And I'm going to give Ron about 5 words on any topic. Welcome to It's Happening Out. Napoleon?
So I was in Wisconsin this past weekend, and I got a chance to play with some puppies, some snow, and I really injured my legs because I fell and hit so often that I've got a few bruises. And it reminded me, again, how life, even while you're out there playing every day, my slogan is to play every day, every way, just like we do here on this show, you're going to get hurt. But you got to keep getting back up. You got to keep hurting yourself in the process of learning and growing, and that's why it is important to play, to make sure that you become your best self, and that's why we have this show here today.
Absolutely. I clearly am Napoleon Plays Friends because I've got so many jokes running around in my head, and I'm just going to be silent.
And that's a first, America.
And my friend Aaron Dar.
Well, I want to congratulate Ron. I think that you're going to make such a wonderful addition to the It's Happening Out family. With that, I think that people saw today what this country is lacking. And that is people like Ron and people like me, with completely opposite sides of the political spectrum. And we were able to have and engage in a dialogue and conversation. And at a point in our nation's history that we find ourselves in now, where we're not able to do that. We're not even able to just have a Thanksgiving dinner with family members that politically disagree with us. So my challenge to everyone watching is for you to find someone that does not necessarily align with your political beliefs. Sit down, talk to them, be open-minded, and just do everything that you can to spread and encourage love in people, regardless of their party affiliation, to vote.
Love that message. And my friend Chef Josie.
Yeah, you know, we touched on the idea of how often we use love and we say that to each other. Well, I want to say goodnight to all the lovers out there. Sounds like something like an R&B station. But good night to all the lovers, because the world is in need of love today. And you matter. This conversation matters. And it's important. We'll see you next week at the table.
And my friend Power Infinity.
And you were listening to Josie on The Quiet Storm. Good night, children, and thank you guys all for watching. For all of you guys that engage with us on our live feed, thank you so much. Just remember that It's Happening Out is here to give a platform and a voice, and our voice is yours. So keep it right here, tuned in to It's Happening Out each and every week.
Absolutely true. We have talked about this for a long time. I have to tell you, we're getting ready to end the first month of the year, of January. And I tell you, it's not been as good a first month as I was hoping it to be. I had high hopes at New Year's. not having the same kind of feelings at the end of the month. So it means that I've got to refocus and remotivate myself. But gosh, is it hard with all of the news of what's going on in the world. So I've got to get better at balancing that. And remembering what we do here is much more important than what happens out there.
Amen.
As a result, It's Happening Out is super important because we believe in gay culture and gay community, and we're exploring that in so many different ways. The addition of Ron is an example of it. Having Aaron's point of view is an example of it. Of course, these people's perspective is an example of it. And we just remind you, if you are looking in the exploration of does gay culture still exist? Are you proud and interested in the gay community? You can find it here, because if it's important to you, it's happening out every Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. Good night, America.